Hey everybody, hope you guys are all doing okay. Welcome back to the end of Might and Magic 8. Although, it'll be a while before we're done, not too long, but it's definitely going to be at least a two-parter, this final chapter, the closing stages of the game's main quest is what we're about to start, and it's gonna be a bit of an epic trek. Before we, of course, rush headlong into the endgame, I am, of course, going to check once again, just to make sure that we've gotten whatever the seer was telling us to do. Yes, I think the seer told us ages ago that we should talk to Xanthor, and we haven't done that yet. So let's go and do exactly that. The previous stage of the main quest which we did, it seems like a while ago now, but it was to go to the different planes and gather the elemental heartstones, which we've been carrying around for a while. They look quite pretty in our inventory, although that's about to change slightly. Xanthor is not there? Where was Xanthor? Arius' house? No. Where was he? Okay, he was in this hostel, right? There we go.
The crystal gateway is attuned to the 4 elemental planes and will only allow elemental energies to pass through. The combined energies of the 4 hearts will open the gate. With this conflux key in your possession, you should be able to pass through to the plane between planes. Go now. The cause of our troubles lies through the gateway. I'm sure of it.
Okay, that was a fun little cutscene. Let's take a look at what Xanthor is saying in this bit of dialogue. He says that he's built us the conflux key, which is what he was showing us in that cutscene. And he's repeating what he said. And he's basically, just repeating what he said in that cutscene. He took our 4 gems and turned them into this. It actually looks really cool. You can see the gems are set into it, and it looks like a really cool decoration if nothing else. Now in the cutscene he was using it. It was almost like a glove, like a fist extension. Sadly, you can't equip it that way. I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity, because they could have turned this into an equipable item and maybe even given it some, elemental themed enchantments, and that would have been really nice. But regardless, it looks really cool, and this is the quest item that we're going to need. It will function as a key, allowing us to go forward. But before we go forward, of course, we need to go back to the seer and see what he has to say to us. The oracle, rather. He tells us our destiny lies through the crystal gateway in Ravenshore. It will take us to the plane between planes, which is also a name that Xanthor mentioned, and that there we'll find the source of the cataclysm. So we're gonna do that. Gonna do that now. Let's note the wording of what he's telling us. Through the crystal gateway. So what I might want to do is I might want to check back after passing through the crystal into the plane between planes. just to make sure he doesn't have anything new for us. Should I bring Veteranus back into our party? Not just yet. We are going to do though. Before we go in, it would behoove us to cast our buffs. Day of the Gods, Hour of Power, Day of Protection, and for good measure I'll even cast regeneration on all our party members. We've cast Day of the Gods, now we need Day of Protection. And I'm going to start flying towards the temple while I recover. And I'll just heal these people up. I'll heal myself up after I've cast regeneration 5 times. It's always a bit of a freaky animation whenever I see, you know, the animation that plays when you cast regeneration. A lot of spells have little animations. Usually they're just like flashes or sparkles. But this one, you can see there's a ghostly face in the background. Very, very unsettling. I didn't even notice it
A benediction to you.
until recently. I think in my Might and Magic 7 playthrough, maybe there was a similar animation, and I saw the face for the first time, and it freaked me out. But yes, anyway, that's enough about that. I think we're gonna go inside now. Gonna go in.
I can't see anything.
And immediately gonna go back out. I'm just gonna check. Is the seer saying anything new? If not, I'll load my autosave. This isn't gonna be that long. Just we're almost at the end of the game, and it would suck if I missed a seer node through sheer negligence, because sometimes the seer will have new things to say at unexpected you know, junctures where you wouldn't think there'd be anything special that prompted to have him to have new dialogue, but sometimes he does. Anyway, I suppose I should be commenting on the enemies we're fighting. However, slightly unfortunately, the surprise was ruined because when we were doing our arena combat, we've already seen these enemies, these rather cool-looking dragons, animated dragons built out of gemstones or carved out of gemstones. Don't exactly know what sort of a process spawned them, but they look really cool. We saw them when we were doing our arena combat because they're high-level enemies and because our party is a very high-level party. These were basically in the very small pool of enemies that was available for us to fight, just because our level was that high. But, you know, no matter, it does feel different fighting them here compared to the arena. Largely because it's a different looking environment. The arena, much more controlled situation. We knew what sort of an arrangement we were getting into. We knew how the enemies would spawn. Here we're kind of just rushing into an unknown structure and finding these enemies inside. Does make it feel a bit more thrilling, a bit less certain of how things are gonna go. Although realistically, I know nothing's really gonna threaten us too much. I should still be careful to not get totally surrounded and overwhelmed. But so far, we're doing well. One thing I'll point out is I did realize when I started that I had some levels to gain, and I could have done some training before starting this, before entering the crystal, but I am holding off on that. The main reason is because I also know that these are experience-rich enemies, because they're so high level. And so I'm hoping that maybe we can get some extra levels out of that. And then I've already mentioned this is going to be a two-parter, the finale to the series. So we'll do our training before we enter into the very last part. Okay, here's an obvious secret. Slightly hard, not hard to see, but it is glowing red and we're in a reddish environment. So you might miss it at first if you're just glancing through very quickly, but there is a bit of treasure.
Leave it.
Finally, we get... I think this might even be the first item of the gods that we've seen in this entire game. I'm glad that we've seen it. I'm not sure who we'll give it to. I'll hold on to it for now.
Worthless.
Not...
Leave it. Leave it.
Great.
Leave it.
Plus 10 hit points. I mean, it's a...
Leave it.
It's a flat hit point bonus, if nothing else. So that's fine. Alright, so what sort of... Oop. That's probably better than that. Although you can't use any gauntlets at all, you already have artifact gauntlets. You have these ones which are... So if you don't have a second thing that's regenerating your mana, I'll let you hold on to these gauntlets, and then I'll give these ones to Elspeth, so she can get plus 10 to all her statistics. I don't think that's pushed us past any breakpoint threshold situations, but it's brought us closer, and who knows, maybe when we gain some levels and put a couple more points into light magic, maybe then we'll have pushed some of our party members past some of their stat point thresholds. Right now we gotta take down some more of these enemies.
Hey.
So far our truckloads of damage are coming in quite good. And it's very satisfying fighting these guys. They're not even doing that much damage to us, but that's in large part because of the preparation that I did before we entered. Our protection, our regeneration. So they're trying their hardest. It's just that we are a little bit, well, not more than just a little bit, we are substantially beyond the level of party that these guys would have been capable of posing a threat to. Alright. We're getting through this in reasonably good time. But there is still a lot to be done. I have a plan for what we're going to cover in this episode, and by extension what we will be leaving for part 2 of the finale. And so far I think we're on track to get things done in a fairly reasonable time. I think Power Cure followed by regular heal is the way to go. We did end up taking a fair amount of damage on, sorry, Blackthorn there. Alright. Now we come to a bit of a puzzle. Alright. Gotta remember how exactly this works. Before I do anything with this puzzle, I guess we could loot a couple of these bodies, and they will give high level items that you could sell. But we don't really need money. Rings are nice though.
Who knows?
Ooh, I was also holding to that ring of life. I'll give the ring of life to you, because you were taking a bit of damage. Now you got a bit of extra. And what
I don't know.
ring is this?
Worthless.
If it's just boosting one thing, I'm not gonna keep it. Mace, I'm not even gonna bother looking at. Ring is good. Two-handed axe, not really. My thing, hat, no thank you. Chain mail.
Worthless.
Arms master plus 12. But it's not. No, I'm not gonna do it.
Worthless.
I was thinking about giving it to Leanne Stormlance,
Worthless.
but
Leave it.
I really boots. Everyone has decent boots. Yeah, I'm not gonna give it to Leanne
Worthless.
over her reagent is garbage. Over her
Worthless.
artifact plate mail.
Leave it. Leave it.
I'm holding onto the rings just because they're small. And okay, this group of enemies isn't dropping anything. I guess only the dragons. Only that enemy type is giving us loot. Anyway, I think that's enough looting. Oh, the main thing I wanted to do was I wanted to confirm that we've killed everyone in this area. And
Worthless.
that
Worthless.
could have been good if it was off the dragon. Plate armor, not even gonna bother looking at it. Cutlass, likewise. Plate armor. It's a good thing to find
Leave it.
if you want to sell something. Like if you need money, but we don't really need money. We're once again
Worthless.
in the situation where... Aha, you see? I had a feeling that maybe we'd left somebody alive back here, so I'm
Worthless.
glad I came back
Leave it.
just to check.
Leave it.
I guess
Leave it.
these other enemies will sometimes drop an item as well, but not always. That's where we came from. Ring
Leave
is
it.
always interesting.
Leave it.
Scroll.
Worthless.
Oh, come on. Sometimes that'll happen. I'll pick up the item that I had previously thrown out by accident
Worthless.
while trying to throw out something else. Alright,
Worthless.
there we go. There we go, we've
Leave it.
even looted everybody
Worthless.
and found mostly garbage. Okay. Okay, let's... I might as well. Wand and boots.
Worthless.
Boots might be.
Leave it.
Spell points, speed, and intellect. I'd rather have hit points, but I'll hold on to these just because the potentially useful items I'm gonna keep on the right side. Okay, I think that's enough. We've spent enough time messing around. This is merely zone 1 of the final set of things we need to do. Alright. Okay, this is gonna be a memory situation. Let's take another look at that. 1, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 1. So 1, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 1. Did that work? I mean, I feel like the lighting might have changed slightly. So, okay, now we are being allowed to leave, so I guess that did work. And now we are in the plane between planes. We have some new enemy types. I don't think we saw these in the arena. These guys seem to have some major damage reduction on them. Yeah, everyone except for Ithilgor is doing very little damage to these guys. So let's see.
We can take it.
They are immune to physical damage. That would explain what's going on. Okay. Now, this is an outdoor location, so we are able to fly. Let's do exactly that and get a bit of a broader view of what's going on in here. So my plan for this episode is we're going to kill all the exterior enemies in this area, and we will visit one other location, but not the final, the very final location in the game. That will be saved for part 2. But yes, so first stage is to just kill. These guys, because they are not physical immune, are... they're going down pretty quickly. Okay. Yeah, those physical immune guys are kind of a pretty big counter to our party build. Because you can see we're doing hundreds of points of damage, but most of that damage is coming via physical damage that we're delivering via hitting the enemy in melee. What is the... It's getting late in the day, which is unfortunate because that means it's getting dark as well. That's weird because from a distance those guys were green dots, which meant they were friendly. But when we got closer, they turned into red dots, as you would expect.
It is down.
Because they are indeed our enemies. I guess it's a bit of a glitch, if you see them marked on the map from a distance.
It is down.
Okay. Let's take down these guys first. These fear, terror type enemies. There aren't that many of them, it would seem, which is good, because it is taking us a bit longer to deal with them compared to the other enemy type on this map. And basically only Ithilgor is doing damage to them. Everyone else is only doing the chip damage, which... sorry, I had to pause briefly. Somebody is operating a very loud machine just outside my window. I wish they wouldn't, but I guess they need to.
Watch it.
Okay, this is a bit unfortunate because it's getting really dark. Really dark. And a little bit hard to see. I think in the interest of not having to cast all my buffs again, I'll
Did it.
fight the enemies in the dark for now. But do we have torchlight? That should help a little bit. Okay. And let's also take a look at how much we've gained in terms of experience. We can gain 5 more levels. I'd like to gain a few more than that, at least a couple more.
Got him.
How many can you gain? Because you have Grandmaster Learning as well. You can go all the way to 101. Yeah, our dragon is going to be very high level by the end of this game, and definitely... Well, no, you are going to be the first to reach triple figures. And then you would have been the second one, but you started at level 50, so it's more impressive for Ithilgor, because he joined us at a very low, as a very low level character. And so almost all of his levels were gained while in our party. Alright, I'm gonna prioritize these guys. Okay.
Yes, we've done it.
Okay, that was a little bit harrowing. Whoa, 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 easy. Everybody just settle down. Just make sure nothing's broken. Looks fine for now. Alright, let's fly again. Let's cast a power cure. Regeneration is still active. That is good. We've cleared out a good chunk of the map. But lots more remains.
Yes, we've done it.
I knew.
And the main bottleneck for us, I feel... Ooh, we got some... I was gonna say behemoths, because that's what they look like. But they're called plane protectors. So, a new enemy type that fortunately is not a physical immune, so we're taking them down pretty quickly.
Oh, yes.
We got it.
Okay.
We did it.
Okay.
Did it.
Okay. What do you... Okay. Can go to 98. But nearly 100,000 experience required for the level after that. Which is going to take some doing.
We got it.
You know what? I think we'll be able to. Because there seem to be a lot of enemies in this area. Alright. Another one of those is down.
Got it.
You're down.
Wish I knew. Ow.
Yep. Basically, we're relying on Ithilgor to do the damage. We could increase our damage output by a lot if I use his area of effect spell against those enemies. It might not be a bad idea if we find a group of them, but the problem is we'd have to hit them from a distance because the AoE will hurt us as well.
We got it. Hey.
Oh, yes.
Okay. 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 Yeah, let's see how this works. Nah, that guy was too far away. And now we hit them both. Okay. How much mana does Ithilgor have? 1200. So, okay, yeah, that's a much better way of fighting those physical immune enemies.
Hey.
Yeah, we don't need Veterinus after all. Come on. Okay. What sort of progress have we made? Let's actually clear out the area to the north before going any further south.
I got it.
Okay.
Ow. Ow. You did it.
Yes, we
Watch
done
it.
Okay. I am going to make a decision. I'm going to unequip the Noble Bone Bow. I guess you can have one. One explosive arrow is fine, we can deal with it. But you firing off your double explosive arrow and when it deals damage to our party, I think that was getting to be a little bit much. Okay. Okay.
You did it.
Okay. Let's actually just
This
see what
could
sort
be
of...
tough.
About 1,000 hit points apiece is what we're... Well, 400... Ooh. Plane Overlord, Plane Guardian,
This could be tough. It won't hurt us.
and 700 is the third tag. So 400, 700, 1080.
Ow.
Okay. And yeah, let's keep on clearing out the area to the north.
We
Just
did
because
it.
we've got to be a little bit methodical with this area. Oh, more of these enemies. This is perfect opportunity to do... Oh, this is so much better. I should have really thought about doing this way earlier. I just had serious tunnel vision because we spent so much time building up our melee damage with Arms Master. I felt like I had to attack enemies in melee. But you always have to consider all of your options. Because sometimes you've just got to find a different way, find a better way. Alright. Let's keep going. Let's just quickly check what sort of a... we got about 55,000 experience from those enemies. So most likely we are going to be able to eke out one... Oh, they're going... They were going in opposite directions, but then they came together just in time to be murdered in one fell swoop. Okay. Yeah, we can just cast these like a regular attack, basically. That's how much mana you have. Even though it's wasteful, I will even use the spell against single targets. It may not necessarily do more damage than his actual basic attack, but if it hits the ground next to them, it will still damage them, as opposed to the basic attack, where if it hit the... Why is... Hang on. Why is Fly your quick spell? How do I... How do I get rid of your quick spell?
Ready.
No, how do I unset a quick spell? Okay, yeah, I was like, why are you... Did I set it as a quick spell? Was I trying to cast it as a regular spell, and then I... And then I set it as a quick spell instead?
I got it!
You know what, even against these enemies, the Dragon Breath is probably quicker than fighting them in melee. So I think, yeah, we should use the fact that we can fly to our advantage, the fact that we're not indoors, and that we don't have to fight them in close quarters, and really hit them with the most effective attack, which by far is the Dragon Breath. Alright, more groups of enemies means more Dragon Breath.
I got it!
When we hit the halfway point of Ithilgor's mana, then I'll stop with the Dragon Breath. Actually, you know what? These enemies are getting a bit too scattered for my liking. This one's running away as well. Okay. And I haven't acknowledged this stuff. Well, the text that flashed on the screen kind of tells you what kind of a thing this is. We found another thing like that earlier. We'll either see what they are at the end of this episode or the beginning of next one. Because I think for now, let's just focus on the task at hand, which is to kill. Now, see, it's so easy for your regular attack to miss, which is really annoying. Alright, yeah. This is definitely a... What are you shooting at? Why would you auto-target those enemies and not the ones that are... Yeah, the auto-target in this game will frequently amaze and mystify me with the targets that it chooses to prioritize. I was hoping to get a good double kill, but one of them clearly had a lot more health than the other. But now we're in the final quadrant of the map. You can kind of see a bit of a theme developing. Well, this is fire, watery ports over here, the mountains, and I guess air is harder to depict in this sort of a setting, but you can kind of see, you know, we've again got a bit of an elemental motif going on in this area. That's a big running theme in this game, the 4 elements.
I got it!
Alright, and there's another one of those unusual structures
Ow!
we've seen. We're now
We have crushed it.
on this volcanic terrain. This last group of enemies is not going to last for much longer. Get out. Okay. Before I do anything else, I am just going to quickly fly around the map, and we're going to confirm that there are no enemies left. If there are no enemies left, then we'll rest for the night, and I will do the one other thing that I had planned for this episode. I don't see anything so far. The only other place where there could be enemies is right on this edge of the map. And it's seeming like there probably are not any enemies there. Let's fly a little bit higher. Yeah, there aren't going to be enemies tucked in this deep into these mountains. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna drop down here and we're gonna rest. Let's just rest for 8 hours. That should give us plenty of time. Once again, I'm gonna cast all of my spells. Starting with Day of Protection, you can cast Flight. Come on. Hour of Power, and finally, Day of the Gods. Okay, now we've got a last couple of things left to do. First things first, let me save my game in this slot. Let me cast Town Portal. And let me see if the Seer has anything new for us. It shouldn't take too long, and if he has nothing new for us, we don't have to walk all the way back. We simply have to load our autosave. Come on. Let me check. We did indeed. Okay, he's still giving us the same lines, so we can just load our autosave. Okay, now part 2 of what I had planned is let's take a look at some of these structures in this zone. It's a bit hard to see. Well, this is clearly a giant sword sticking out of the ground. This, with that context in mind, is then we can infer that this is probably a giant helmet, and inside the opening of the helmet is a portal that we're not going to go into in this episode, and, well, flying in the wrong direction. On the other side of the sword is another object in the environment that, if we've concluded that those two things are a giant sword and a giant helmet, then this large gray slab, which at first you might think is just a like a rock, like from above it just looks like a weird rock, but when you fly down you'll notice that it's actually like a bent plated thing. And then if, you know, if that's a giant sword, and if that other thing is a giant helmet, it would stand to reason this is probably a giant shield. So cool little touch in terms of the environment here at the plane between planes. What we're going to do though is we are going to interact with this. I believe this is what we need to interact with the flute in our inventory. I think if we don't have the flute in our inventory, nothing will happen. However, if we do have the flute, we are then given an area transition, which if we take,
What lurks?
takes us to the hidden NYC dungeon. And this is the last thing we're going to do in this episode, is we're just gonna walk around this area and
I'm not sure
meet
what it
some
is.
of the people. They
I'm
all
not
have
sure what
names.
it is.
I'll try and highlight all of them at least once,
I'm not sure what it is.
so
I'm not sure
that their
what it
name
is.
at
I'm
least
not sure what
appears
it is.
briefly.
I'm not sure.
Some
what
of
it
them
is.
I might
I'm not sure what
highlight
it
more
is.
than once. I'll do it with Elspeth,
We can take it.
so that we can even see their
We can
stats
take it.
for whatever it's worth. But, you know, we're not going to be fighting any of them, so their stats are really a moot point. Doesn't seem like this does anything. Unless it's one of those things that adds something to your inventory without telling you. Sometimes this game does things like that.
Haven't seen one before.
It won't hurt us.
Alright. This is a pretty big area, but we're also
We can take it.
going through it pretty
It
quickly.
won't hurt us. It won't hurt us.
Alright. And
It won't hurt us.
it doesn't even need to be mentioned, but, you know, because this area had no enemies in it to begin. Are we... Oh. It looked like we were blocked from going just because of, like, the lighting in this game is kind of weird. I didn't notice that this path extends forward. And then there's a secret door.
It won't hurt us.
But yeah, this area never had enemies to begin with,
It
so
won't hurt us.
it depends
It won't
on,
hurt us.
like, it's a semantic thing in a way, but we can either think of it as having been cleared just
It won't
as
hurt
soon
us.
as we entered it, you know, off the 0 enemies we had, you know, it, like, as soon as we entered it, it had 0 enemies, which is my criterion for considering a place
It
to be
won't hurt
clear.
us.
Or we could just simply say that any place that doesn't
We
have
can take
enemies
it. It won't hurt
isn't
us.
on the list of things that needs to be cleared to begin with. Either way,
We can take
we
it.
have no combat here, so that's not something to worry about.
We can take it.
As
We can take
far
it.
as I know... Let me quickly bring it up on my phone. I want to see if there's any, like, really important secret in this area.
It won't hurt us.
Sorry for being quiet. I was just bringing stuff up
We can
on
take
my
it.
phone while also trying to open
We can- It
these
won't hurt
rooms
us.
one by one. And I am
It won't hurt us.
not very good at multitasking.
It won't hurt us.
I cannot
It won't hurt us.
talk and think at the same time, which
We can take it.
seems like an odd thing to say, but it's true. Alright. So... what I want to do is I want to find a map for the NYC dungeon, which having the NWC dungeon, rather. But the problem is if I type in NWC, that's also the acronym for the actual company behind this game.
We can take it. We can take it.
I have no idea if we've highlighted those people yet. Okay. We need to get a move
It
on.
won't hurt us.
I'm gonna miss some of
We
these
can
people
take
just because they'll have been marked on the map before I got to their room,
It won't hurt
making
us.
me think that
We can take
I
it.
had already selected them when I hadn't. Alright. Let's get a move on, because we don't want to be too long in this area. So it doesn't look like there is
We can take it.
anything major to be found
It won't hurt us.
inside this zone. You know what, let me just go inside this closed off
It
area.
won't hurt us. It won't hurt
Carl
us.
Drown, interesting name. What is this? Is this a button? Is this a button? No, it just looked like a button.
It won't hurt us.
Oh,
We
and
can
there's
take
the
it.
boss in
We can take it.
Might Magic 6's version of the NWC dungeon. He was actually a goblin
take
that was hostile. And we killed him. He was the one enemy
We can take it.
in that version of the dungeon, and killing him cleared the dungeon for us. In this one, however, there are no enemies. He's just another one of those pirate spellcasting type units.
It won't hurt
In fact,
us.
all of the people in this dungeon are pirates. They're either, you know, the pirate regular melee enemies,
We can take it.
or the pirate archers. I think the women are the pirate archers,
We can take it.
or they are the pirate spellcasters.
We can take it. We can take
And
it. We can take it.
I have no idea. Well, I guess differentiating between men and women makes sense, but I have no idea
We
why.
can take it.
What the rationale would be between making
It won't
some
hurt
men, these swordsmen, and other men, the
It won't hurt us.
mage type enemies with the peg leg. Maybe it's just random. Maybe there's some meaning
won't
to it.
hurt us.
Hard to say. Alright, just a few more rooms, I
It
believe.
won't hurt us.
And then we'll be done.
We can take it. It won't hurt us.
There, I think we might be done with this. No, I think there are a couple of rooms over there. Oh, and this room here.
We can take it.
Alright. Alright, let's hit those rooms, and then I think we're gonna call this video to a close after that. I think we made some really good progress, and this is gonna be the calm before the storm. Excuse me, the calm before the storm. Just walking around in this Easter egg area with no hostiles, just relaxing for a bit before the mad dash at the end of this game. Hang on, where was I trying to go? And where have I ended up? Okay. Yeah, there are a few doors left to open at this part of the map, and this big door has opened up a large area, but mainly it's just hallways. So it's not going to force us to stay here too much longer. Okay. What else? think, well... Oh, this is the exit. Before I go, I just want to check one thing out. I want to get to this part of the map. I just want to look at one thing. Like, I'll show you on the map. I just want to see what this thing is. Like, is it a desk or is it a staircase? It's probably just like a desk with that shape, but I just want to make sure I haven't... Oh, how do I even get there? Yeah, the map in this game isn't the most user-friendly in terms of operating it, but it'll get the job done. Here are some of the pirate archer. Yeah, okay, it's just a counter area. There's nothing special about that shape at all, so let's just leave this dungeon. And yes, and as soon as we're out, that's when I'm gonna start wrapping up this video, because I think it's gone fairly long, but since we're right at the end game, I think, you know, it's fine. It's not too bad. Have I gone? I've gone too far. Where was the exit? It was... Oh no. Am I gonna have to... Am I gonna have to town portal? Because I've forgotten how to leave this zone. Like, really, the exit isn't marked is the main problem. And I don't remember where I was the first time. I should have marked it on the map. There was... No, I don't think I'm allowed to put markers on. Yeah, I'm not allowed to put markers. Oh, no, I am allowed to. So it was entirely my own fault for not marking the exit. Oh boy, okay. What I can do is I can just look it up on this thing here. No, the exit isn't marked on the walkthrough either. That's disappointing. Okay, come on, come on. Here's what I'm gonna do. If I spend too much time wandering around, I will speed things up. And we won't have to sit here watching me struggle for 20 minutes. Oh, okay. There's a room that we hadn't opened, and I think that might be the exit. Yep, there's the exit. Didn't... Saved it. Didn't have to run around struggling for hours creating more work for myself when editing the video. Okay, now we're done. Can't really do anything with the shield, but I think let's just land on top of the shield. That's gonna be a good perch for us as we bring this episode to a close. So that is gonna be all for this one, but this is only part 1 of the finale. In part 2, we're gonna be seeing what's going on with these 4 strange structures that we found in the corners of the map, and also what's going on with the strange structure, well, the strange portal that we saw inside this giant's helmet. That's gonna all happen in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's gonna be a pretty exciting finale. You can walk all the way under the shield. That's pretty cool. it's gonna be a pretty exciting finale, and I am pretty pumped for it, and I hope you guys are too. And yep, I hope you're gonna stick around for that one, because it is gonna be a good one. So until then, take care.